Every time you open a game and step into a breathtaking world, every time you edit a video and watch smooth playback, every time a 3D animation comes alive on your screen, something extraordinary is happening inside your computer. Millions of tiny calculations are being performed in fractions of a second. Light, shadows, textures, reflections, all built from pure mathematics and turned into moving images before your eyes. The silent hero behind that magic? The graphics card. Before we dive in, if you enjoy deep, cinematic explanations of how technology really works, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now let's step inside your PC and uncover how graphic cards truly work. At its core, a computer understands only numbers. It doesn't see colors. It doesn't understand shapes. It only processes data. So when you see a character running through a forest in a video game, what's actually happening? The computer is calculating millions of tiny dots called pixels. Each pixel needs instructions. What color should it be? How bright? How should light bounce off it? How should it move as the camera shifts? If your regular processor, the CPU, tried to handle all of that alone, it would quickly become overwhelmed. That's because rendering graphics requires performing many similar calculations at the same time, and that's where the graphics card steps in. Inside a graphics card is a processor called a GPU, a graphics processing unit. Unlike a CPU, which is designed to handle a few complex tasks one after another, a GPU is built to handle thousands of simpler tasks all at once. Imagine painting a giant mural. A CPU is like one highly skilled artist, carefully painting every detail. A GPU is like thousands of artists, each painting one small square at the same time. That ability to work in parallel, doing many calculations simultaneously, is what makes GPUs so powerful for visual tasks. When a game or program wants to display an image, it doesn't send a finished picture to the graphics card. It sends instructions. These instructions describe shapes, positions, lighting, and textures. The GPU begins by constructing basic shapes, often triangles, which are the building blocks of 3D objects. It then applies textures to give those shapes detail, like skin, metal, or fabric. Next comes lighting. The GPU calculates how light interacts with every surface. Where should shadows fall? Where should reflections appear? How does movement change the scene? All of this happens in milliseconds, dozens or even hundreds of times per second, creating smooth motion. A graphics card doesn't just calculate, it also stores information temporarily in its own dedicated memory, often called VRAM. Think of VRAM as a workspace close to the GPU. Textures, models, and frame data are stored here so the GPU can access them instantly. The more detailed the scene, higher resolution textures, complex lighting, realistic shadows, the more memory is needed. Without enough memory, performance drops. But with sufficient VRAM, the GPU can work freely, building rich, detailed worlds without slowing down. Every image you see on your screen is called a frame. The GPU's job is to create these frames as quickly as possible. If it produces 60 frames per second, the motion feels smooth. At 120 or 144 frames per second, it feels even more fluid. But here's the fascinating part. Your monitor also has a refresh rate, how often it updates the image per second. When the GPU and monitor work in harmony, motion appears seamless. When they don't, you may see stuttering or tearing. This constant dance between GPU and display is what creates the illusion of motion from static images. Although graphics cards were built for visual tasks, their parallel power turned out to be useful for much more. Video editing, 3D rendering, scientific simulations, and even artificial intelligence now rely heavily on GPUs. Because they can perform massive numbers of calculations simultaneously, they accelerate workloads far beyond gaming. In many ways, the graphics card has evolved from a visual tool into a computational powerhouse. All this power comes with a cost, energy, and heat. GPUs consume significant electricity and generate substantial heat while working at full capacity. That's why modern graphics cards are equipped with large cooling systems, fans, heat sinks, sometimes even liquid cooling. Performance is not just about speed, It's about balance. Engineers constantly push GPUs to deliver more power while controlling heat and energy usage. Behind every sleek graphics card is a delicate balance between physics and design. At its heart, a graphics card is an artist made of silicon. It takes abstract numbers and transforms them into light, color, and motion. It turns mathematical instructions into immersive worlds. The next time you see a stunning game environment or a beautifully edited video, remember, beneath that image is a storm of calculations happening silently and instantly. Technology often feels magical, but when you understand how it works, the magic becomes even more impressive. If you enjoyed this deep dive into how graphics cards work, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay curious, because the machines around us are far more fascinating than they first appear.